Okay.
Are we here?
We're in.
15 episode.
15.
15 feels like a big number. Like that's a big.
We should get like diamonds or something. No,
15.
that's 25.
25. We're not quite there yet. I
25.
don't know what 15 is, but that feels like a momentous
Buy each other white
episode.
roses. We should have white roses
Wearing
in
all
the back.
black. It's not.
I don't know. We should. It seems like a
15
big deal.
feels
actually.
like a big
I'm very proud of
episode.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah. Welcome back.
And we're getting more traction.
And
which
you're
I think is
staying
cool.
with us.
Yes, thank you
those
for
of
doing
you that
that.
have
Yes.
stayed with us. Thank
Yes.
you. We're in Esther.
We're in Esther. This is a lesson session
Lesson
Esther.
session. That's a tough one to say.
Lesson session.
Lesson
It rhymes,
session.
sort of, kind of. Lesson session.
We did a life session.
Do you have a blue dot? I have a blue
do I have a blue dot?
Okay, just making sure.
Blue dots.
We got blue dots. Yeah, we did our life, and we sort of talked about each other,
Our calling, which was great.
ourselves. I guess
Yeah.
we talked about not
Yeah.
so much each other, but
Yeah. Our callings. We're talking about primary and secondary calling.
And people often say, right, the whole famous line in Esther is,
For such a
maybe you
time
were
as
born
this.
for such a time as this, or maybe you're here for such a time as this. So,
You said that with a lot of
It's a little-
annoyance.
little sass. Well, because I feel like that's like all anybody talks about when it comes to
Yeah,
Esther,
that's the
which is
thing.
how we got to calling,
Sure.
because she is,
It is
called
such a time
for such
as
a
that,
time
right,
as this.
right.
But I also think that until we did this, I will say, at least for me, digging into Esther was like not high on the list of nobody really preaches it to us except for that line and that verse. So it's
agree.
sort of nice to know that she was a little bit like us.
Right. She's an interesting character.
She is.
I think Esther.
If I had 12 months to look at, I think I probably could.
I know. I say that all the time. That's
Before
what
we
I
come
like
on
about
next
her.
time, we are going to have
Getting
12 months
Esther.
of beauty treatment.
If only. She is she's my excuse when I get a massage. I'm like, well, Esther had 12 months. I can at least get a massage. That's my,
right. Exactly.
I
We
do
have
think
the face for radio, is what they say. You have a good face for radio.
Oh, that's right. I think
God.
Esther's probably the first character that some of our listeners are familiar with. I think we talked about Lydia, and we had several people go, wait, Lydia?
Who's Lydia?
Who's that, right?
Right.
And then we talked about the Shunammite woman, which they were really like, who is that?
Yeah.
So I think Esther's really probably the first character that we're talking about that people might be like, oh, I know about
I've
her.
heard
Like, I
Esther.
kind of know
Yeah.
the story.
Right.
So I think that made me dig in a little bit more. Like, what else could we learn about Esther other than for such a time as this? And that's where it's been really, really good.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed studying this.
Well, and my word this year is brave. And so
she was brave.
She's brave
She was
and
very
courageous,
brave,
right?
yes.
I had to supplement with courage. And that is the big verse. And I picked that verse which is probably why I was sort of about it, because about
Like,
this
I
time of
say it
year I
every
don't like
day,
my
yeah.
word or the verse, because
Yeah.
I say it to myself all the time. But it is it's very telling about what's happening in the book of Esther. But I think it's fun. I've had a really
I've
fun
enjoyed
time
it.
just
Yeah.
making it more about, wow, like my head's in her story, and I wonder what I would have done. But yeah, the beauty treatment
It's
seemed
one
like a
of
good
those
idea.
that, like, when we get to heaven, I really want to hear her side of this. Like,
Yeah.
and Mordecai's side. Like, until this study, I didn't realize how much a part of the story Mordecai was. I mean, I knew him, and I knew it, but for whatever reason this time I was like, it's a lot about Mordecai too.
And
like,
he's he's pacing in front
yeah,
of the
I mean,
the-
he is a huge
palace.
piece of this. And so
Do you think we're going to get to meet the eunuch that's in charge
Yeah.
of the concubines and all
Maybe.
that? I'm sort of like interested.
I mean, the whole way they set this up is
I know.
unique.
It is.
So let's
Yeah.
just kind of go
We
through the
should
story.
probably
We're telling
start.
all this. Let's just go through the story. I think that's probably the best bet
Yeah.
today. Is just
You outline it
in
and
case
I'll
some of you
interject.
don't know this story. We're just going to kind of go through the story of Esther. We'll put it in the notes, but Kristin had got me turned on to Dr.
Creasy.
Bill Creasy, which I think I had heard the name, but I never really did it. And so
He's so good.
he teaches the Bible on audio. I mean, I have it on Audible. And he kind of does a book at a time, and he just walks you through. And so I listened to him with Esther, and that's where probably most of this is going to come from. Because he
He digs.
I mean,
in.
it's unbelievable. So we're going to put that video link in the comments for you guys and would ask you to listen to that so that, not the legend session because we'll interview somebody, but at the last laughter session, I really want to break down what he said. So I'd like you guys to listen to it and watch it so that you understand what we're talking about when we come back and talk about the Bill Creasy things. But for today, let's just do high-level overview of Esther.
Right.
Interesting where Esther falls. I didn't realize that. Again, the history of the Bible is so cool. I always thought there was Israel, the kingdom's divided, they were put into exile, they all came back as one kingdom again, Israel, and here we are.
And everybody came back.
And I thought everybody came back.
Right.
And I didn't realize that some didn't go back.
Right.
And most of them didn't go back.
Most.
So they gave 90%, I think they said, didn't go back. So only 10% went back with Nehemiah when Nehemiah went back. And the rest stayed.
Yeah.
And then that raised so many questions. Why'd they stay? Were they just in a comfortable lifestyle and they didn't want to go back? Were they not allowed to go back? Did they only let 10% go back? I don't know.
No, I think it's because, they made their life over there.
And they just wanted to stay.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like if somebody tried to drag me back to Michigan or you back to Pennsylvania. Wouldn't you sort of be like, no, but I made my life here?
Interesting. I don't know.
I
just feel
think
like
that's what I thought.
They, as the Jewish people, everything was about the temple in Jerusalem and that the promised land was taken from them. So when the promised land was given back, I just assumed they'd all go.
But it clearly is not that focus in her life.
Right.
Or Mordecai's life. I mean, yes, she was raised as a Jew, right? But
focused
not
enough that they risked their lives to save the Jewish people in exile. So it had to be powerful enough that they were willing to risk their lives. So that just, I don't know if I know the answer. Right. I just think I was shocked when I realized that Esther took place after they were already given back the promised land and they just
and she didn't go
back.
Her
or wasn't allowed. I don't know. I'm sure I could study that more to figure it out.
And she was orphaned. So you don't know what happened to her family.
Yeah. But I just never, in all my years of study, realized that Esther, the story, fell after Nehemiah went back and they stayed. So that was really cool. So that's the time frame we're in. And ultimately, like we said, some of the Jewish people, some of the Jews went back to the promised land and some stayed. And so the story of Esther falls in the 90% of people that stayed and didn't go back to the promised land. And so there's a lot of Jews still living there. And King Xerxes is the ruler. And he has Vashti, I've heard it said both ways, Queen Vashti.
Right.
And he threw a big party, and boy, did they party.
I know.
I don't know if I ever realized how much they partied back then.
Well, and I loved the whole, like, it was politically driven.
Yes.
Right? It's trying to get consensus. It's trying to get everybody to agree, and you're strong and you're powerful. And so you throw this big, huge, lavish party, and the king throws a party, and the queen throws a party, and it was all political.
And it's a 180-day party.
Yeah.
180-day party. That's crazy. I mean, just culturally. Could you imagine if we were like, we're just not doing anything for a half a year. We're just going to party. But the king's partying in his quarters, the queen's partying in her quarters, Queen Vashti and King Xerxes. And King Xerxes says Queen Vashti needs to come in and...
in all her glory.
All her glory. And
with her crown.
I did not realize till he said it that he requested basically her to come in naked in front of all of his friends.
Yeah.
What a pig.
He was bragging
about.
I thought I loved this. Like when you put men together and they're drinking, they're talking about their success in business and their conquest of women, and I'm like, that hasn't changed either, right? Like I love that.
And the fact that he was going to show her off like that. Could you imagine if your husband was like, honey, well,
no,
he wouldn't be showing us off. Honey, you just should go hide, go put some clothes on.
I've passed my prime when it comes to that. No, crown or no crown.
You're not showing me off. You don't want that.
I don't think that the bragging rights would continue if we actually had to
so that. Crazy.
Whatever. Okay, so
he
anyway.
calls her in, basically says, come in naked with just your crown in front of all my friends to show off what a wonderful king I am and what a beautiful wife I had. And I love that Vashti was kind of like,
not can do.
Screw you. I'm not coming. Like, I know what you're going to do and I'm not coming. Which, culturally, how ballsy of her to
She
not
could
do
die.
that. She could have been killed.
I mean,
And
she
she
could.
was like, no. And I was
Right.
like, no one ever talks about
Nobody-
her. I wonder who she was. So she says no. He
You
says
can
you're
surmise
out.
a lot of things
Yeah.
about her
Yeah.
when you
I mean, she
when
had
you
to
when
be
you
beautiful.
know that she did that.
She had
Yeah.
to be beautiful because she was the queen. She had to be powerful as a queen.
She held a lot
She's
of power.
throwing her own party for 180 days, and
Yeah.
then she said no.
No, I'm not doing that.
So go
Yeah.
Vashti. So she basically gets outed. Xerxes says, you're out.
Mm-hmm.
His team says, let's go do a beauty pageant, basically in all the provinces. There were 129 provinces.
After he sort of has a discussion about what am I going to do about this.
Yes. So there was a period of time.
There was, like he went to council and they said nobody's going to listen to their husbands if you keep her around.
Yeah,
so
true.
it was with council that
They said.
that his advisors said bye-bye,
Yeah. Yeah.
which also would be,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I'd agree
And
with
what'd
my
she do
council.
after, I wonder?
I don't know.
Like once you're the queen and you get banished, where'd Vashti go? Vashti. I don't
Promised
know.
land? No.
She went with the Jews. I'm out. I'm going with the Jews.
With
They're
the Jews.
nicer. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear her
Anyway,
story. We
so
don't know it. So she's out. They do a beauty pageant in all the 129 provinces or 126 provinces. They're going to take the prettiest virgin in all the provinces and bring them before the king and sleep with the king. Like that was the
See if you
bringing
get
them
approval.
before. You get 12 months of beauty treatments to look beautiful. Then you get to go in and sleep with them. And if you do well and you perform well, he invites you back. You have a chance to stay.
To be the queen.
So,
Like not just to stay, like
Right.
you get to be the queen of the country.
so as a virgin, I just kept thinking, if you'd asked me to come in the first night I ever had sex, I would not have been the queen.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Where? How? Who? What?
Don't do
No
that.
way I'd
Yeah.
have been a queen.
Yeah.
I've been like, wait,
But
back up.
she had the eunuch
She did
explaining
have the
these
eunuch.
things.
Could you imagine that job?
No, I don't. He knew what the eunuch knew what the king
Which
liked.
makes you wonder, what did the king like?
I don't know.
Like when we talk
I
about,
don't, we can't go there.
you know, whips
Yeah.
and chains excite me. I don't know what the king liked, but clearly Esther
Yeah.
didn't. So Esther was one of the virgins that
And
were
she
brought
could
in
take
from one of the
anything that
provinces.
she wanted to in,
Yeah,
and she
that's
took what the king liked.
What are you taking in?
I don't
I don't
know.
take stuff to bed.
No, I don't either.
Like, sorry, honey.
yeah. No.
I would not have been queen.
No.
I'd have been like, it is what you get. It
Yeah.
is what it is. So
Shouldn't have-
interesting culture, just to say the least.
Yeah.
This is now, though, this is where I think it gets interesting when you talk about Esther and Mordecai. Was Esther is a Jew,
Orphaned.
orphaned, but she chose to go into this situation to sleep with the king. She's not married.
She knows what's coming.
Culturally, completely a different religion, I mean, so even modern day now, we teach our kids, you gotta,
Yeah.
be with somebody that loves the Lord and same that, which
Right.
Esther wasn't.
No.
She went into
Exactly.
this, like,
Yeah. Knowing.
and
full
Mordecai
well.
pushed her.
Yeah.
Like the uncle's like, you gotta go do this. So I mean,
Sort of sold her into it,
some
so to speak.
odd things going on there.
Yeah.
But Esther goes in. Ultimately, Esther wins the prize. She becomes Miss Universe,
Queen. Right.
Miss Queen of King Xerxes. And all is well. She's enjoying life. He's enjoying life. Mordecai's enjoying life. And then we have this side story of Haman
Yeah.
going on, which, oh my gosh. The story that when you get to the Bill Creasy video, that he talked about the Agagite and where Haman came from.
No.
Oh my God.
I
Both
could not-
Sean and I went, wait,
No
what? I had to go back
way.
and look. I'm
Yes,
like, are you for
I
real?
know.
Did this really happen? And that,
And there was.
in
Yeah.
all of our seminary, no one ever tied that into
Yeah.
me, which was crazy. So that we'll get to on the Creasy thing, but there's this, like, the antagonist of the story, Haman, who hates Mordecai, Esther's uncle.
Because he's a Jew.
Because he's a Jew. And so he threatens, again, you can read all the stuff, but he basically gets it to where the king puts his signet ring on an edict that says, on this day,
All the Jews.
all the Jews are going to be killed. So all of the, people in the province are allowed to go kill the Jews in all of their provinces.
Free reign.
Just
Free reign. You can do whatever
just
you
go
want.
kill them
Yeah.
and take their stuff. He said, take the spoils.
The plunder.
Pastor Soper, when he talks about this, I really think calls it booty. He calls it booty, which
Take
I
all
know
the
what it
booty.
is, but he's like, they took all the booty.
took
And I was
all
like, hearing
That
Pastor
is
Soper
funny.
say booty, I was like, It's like your
We should
grandpa
put him
saying
in there.
booty.
I wonder if we could put him in there.
We can
in
put
the
him
notes.
Pastor Soper.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Because they have a different take
Yeah.
on the story. So
We need to
that's
do that.
cool.
Yeah.
So they're gonna kill all the Jews, and all of a sudden Mordecai leans into Esther, and this is where you get the
Famous line.
Esther, maybe God put you here for such a time as this.
And don't think that you're not going to be killed.
Right.
Which I don't know. Which I'm not sure.
I don't know if she was performing well in bed if he'd have killed
Right.
her.
I don't think
know
Xerxes
what he
was
would
sort
have.
of-
I don't think he
I
cared.
don't think he cared.
I agree. I don't know if he
And,
would have
she,
done
and
that.
at this point, actually, he doesn't even know she's Jewish. I don't think he even knows what's going on.
So
I
all
mean,
the things, like
yeah, Haman was
she-
just like all of this backstabbing out there, and well, and we missed a point too. Like Mordecai actually tells the king that
saves his life.
that
Yeah,
he saves
you're
his
right.
life, and they put it. It was all written down that Mordecai disclosed to the king through channels, but that there was a
Right.
plan to kill him.
Yeah.
So
You're right. He saved the
that
king
He
pre all
saves.
this.
Yeah, he saves the king. So anyway, I mean, Mordecai's
Yeah.
working the system too.
And I think that's what we were talking about before this. Was Esther and Mordecai good? Were
Yeah.
they bad? I think they were Jews and they loved, Jesus wasn't there, but the Messiah. They believed in God. But boy, they were living a lifestyle that didn't necessarily always match up with it until they needed it. And then it's like, well, maybe God put you here for
Right.
such a time as this. Now, granted, I just made you go sleep with the king and I've
Right, there's a whole
you know,
bunch
all
of
this
stuff
other stuff that's
in
not
alignment.
in alignment. But then when I need God to be on my side to get something done, Mordecai calls on God. Well, God said, which, how often do we do that?
I was just gonna say.
I mean,
isn't that just the
yeah.
cycle of our lives, right? I mean, we talked last week about like, when we get comfortable in our jobs and in our calling, we sort of let go of all of the. But I need God.
Until you
And
need God, and then it's like,
So
God.
yeah, I think this is just
So I
indicative
think-
of.
yeah.
I hope that they weren't terrible people because I feel like it's sort
I
of
don't
like
know,
us.
but they were. I mean, they
But yeah.
definitely didn't do some things
No,
right.
right,
Like
for
you
sure.
can't look at them and be like, wow, they're like,
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
not godly
Daniel,
people.
and
Right. No,
they
we're not.
definitely had some issues.
We're not getting godly.
right. But
And God is not mentioned in the book of
God
Esther,
is
which
not
is sort of.
mentioned. Yeah. And it goes to show Esther, it depends on what Bible you're looking at it through. In the Protestant Bible, our canon, the 66 books, Esther is this. If you read Esther in the Catholic book, the Catholic Bible, they add things to it. Because ultimately, because it didn't talk about God, the Catholics didn't think it should be in the canon. And so they wanted it to be in the canon because it was a great story and it teaches a lot. So they added prayers into Esther so that God would be mentioned.
Soper says
So
that,
depending
right?
on, I don't know which one said
said
it,
that? Yeah.
but depending on what Bible you're reading this out of, some of you might see God mentioned in your Bible
That's
because
true.
they put it in the
After,
Catholic Bible
right,
after
right.
they added some prayers that talk about God. But in the Protestant Bible, God is not mentioned, prayer is not mentioned. The only thing that's mentioned somewhat of a biblical discipline is fasting. They fasted, but they don't pray.
Right.
They
No.
don't talk about God in our Bible.
Right.
So it's
Right.
an interesting take on how the book.
Yeah. So on our side story,
Yeah.
Haman is out trying to make himself great, and he ends up, long story, but he ends up, being beheaded by the thing that he wanted to behead Mordecai for,
Right, he built the gallows to kill Mordecai,
right, and then he ends up at the gallows.
dying on him.
And so, but that doesn't solve the problem of this edict that's already out there that
Which was really the
Xerxes had
first
signed.
Holocaust. So I mean, I don't know who was saying that too, and something that I was listening to, but this was literally, we're going to kill all of the
we are
Jews.
going to exterminate the Jews.
Exterminate the Jews.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Xerxes seems,
He doesn't seem like he
didn't
cares.
care.
I
Like,
don't-
take it or leave it.
Right.
I just keep the Jews, get rid of the Jews. He
Yeah.
was not the one. It was Haman who was literally out to get, which goes back to when he was an Agagite. Like you can see that history when you, which is really cool. But yeah,
Right.
first Holocaust was about to happen.
And it's sort of interesting that Xerxes didn't seem like it was any
I think
big.
Xerxes is a very sanguine personality.
That's
He's
true.
very
He's
like,
just,
party,
right.
come in naked, sleep
Make me
with
look good,
whips
yeah.
and chains, all is well.
Yeah.
He's kind of
I'm
a
running
free-flowing guy.
Right. Till he
I'm
starts
guessing.
losing his
Right.
little kingdom
Right.
here. But
Right.
Another story.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mordecai then has to get to Esther and say there's edict that they're going to kill the Jews. We're going to be exterminated. And she doesn't really want to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. She's like, no, I can't go into the king.
Because the king
He'll kill me.
He'll kill me if I'm not invited. Which again,
Yeah.
like,
How do you have to be
whatever.
invited?
Like,
Yeah. So different culturally.
But anyway, so she sort of says no, thank you. Tries to get Mordecai some clothes because he's tearing off his
Sackcloth
clothes,
and ashes.
sackcloth, and doing his thing, and traditional thing, Jewish tradition thing, and he finally gets her attention, and she says, "Okay, work out, make everybody fast and pray, and let's see what happens." And so that is like the only thing
That is the
from
only thing in the book.
spiritual
that's- yeah.
perspective that you sort of go, okay, well that was down deep somewhere, because she suggests it, not Mordecai.
Out of fear for her
Out of
life.
fear.
And she's like, all
Out
right,
of
now
fear.
God.
Right.
In some way.
Right, exactly. So
But it's funny, after all that, she walks in to the king, could have been killed, and he opens the scepter to her. Basically, if he's okay with you coming in, he moves the scepter and you can go in. So he moves the scepter so she can go in. So if I was Esther, I'd think, all right, I got in, I might not get
I'm
in
gonna
again.
get this done.
Like, let's
Yeah.
get it done. And she doesn't. She's like, hey, why don't you and Haman come to dinner? Like, okay.
and she knows at this point, right?
She knows
that
Haman's the bad guy. Yeah. So she's
right?
inviting
like
King and
this is very
Haman.
tactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she invites them to
yeah.
dinner, cooks their favorite thing. They come to dinner.
What do you want? Up
She
to
still
half the
doesn't say
kingdom.
it.
He says up to half the
Up to half the
kingdom is
kingdom.
yours. you
And
know.
she says, come to dinner again.
Yeah.
Do it a second night. I'm like, okay, lady. She was nervous. You could tell. This was like, this is like when you have to
This is
fire
more
somebody
typical.
at work and you're
We'll
like,
talk tomorrow.
let's meet tomorrow. And then you get tomorrow and you're like, so let's meet tomorrow. And you're just like, she just did not want to say it. She was, I think, stalling. I don't know, but
But it was very trapping at the
yes,
same time.
yes.
I mean, it was so manipulative. Speaking of whether she was good or bad, there was definitely a plan
Yeah.
to manipulate this whole thing. So she discloses the plan.
She finally
She
tells
she tells the king what she wants, and then he leaves the room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And-
this is interesting. Imagine this
Yeah.
is a television
I
show.
know.
I just kept
it's
seeing this
so
next
true.
scene on like a TV
Yeah.
show.
He leaves the room and he's furious and doesn't know what he's going to do about it. Sort of, you can see him
Right.
ranting and raving in the palace gardens, and Haman,
The
ends
guy
up-
who has now tried to
bad
exterminate
guy.
everything, the antagonist in the story.
is now begging Esther to, save his life.
Save his
So
life.
He didn't care about anything else now. He knows that things aren't going well for him, and begging, clearly, in
Yeah.
some provocative sort
Yeah,
of.
clearly he is,
He's attacking her-ish, sort of I don't know.
but not in a harmful way to
No,
her, but
more
a pleading to save my life, please. I'm on my knees
hanging
begging
on her
you.
desperate.
Yes.
And so then Mordecai,
King Xerxes.
Xerxes walks back in and is like, oh my God, now you're going to molest my.
And now you're basically raping her.
Right.
You know?
And so I thought that was sort of.
Yeah, so then he just kills him right out. Like,
Then
you're
he's
done.
just done.
Hangs him on the gallows.
Then he goes.
Haman's out.
Yeah.
Like, he
So
went
we're done
from
with Haman.
that morning, he left
thought
his
he was
house,
great.
which is great, telling
Think
his
he's the
wife
bomb.
and his sons,
Yeah.
I have been invited to a private dinner with the king and queen. I am the greatest thing ever. I'm going to exterminate the Jews. And he's dead by night.
Yeah.
Same,
Yeah.
holy transition
Yes.
for Haman.
Yes. So.
So that happens, but I think a really cool lesson in this too is, there's a verse that says it's better not to make a vow than to make a vow and break it. And so now we're at this point in the story where Xerxes looks at Esther and Mordecai now, because now Mordecai's been put
now
into
he's
a
a good guy,
position because
right.
all the stuff.
But-
And he says to Mordecai and Esther, really, I can't go back on what I said, which was to exterminate the Jews. So
Right. There's still this
that's
edict
my
out
word,
there.
my ring and signet. So, wow. As much as I think Xerxes was a hot mess, there was a piece of him that was like, this is what it is.
Grounded in something.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says, I can't change it, but I'm going to allow you to make an edict to combat it. Basically, what do you
Right.
think we can do to combat it?
So we have a new edict.
New edict.
That says it's undone, essentially, and it's reversed.
It's reversed.
So now the Jews can attack and take out
Whoever's coming after them.
whoever they want and take all their booty.
Take the booty.
Take their booty. Which they do, which happens, and that's successful. But then Mordecai...
On one day. It's
on
like
one day.
on March 14th, you get to take anybody's life and take all of their booty on March 14th. Like, that's what it is.
But then they decide that that wasn't enough.
Esther decides that.
And Esther decides
Like,
that.
she's the one that's like, wait, I want
wanna do
another
it,
day.
We want to do it some more, so we do it some more.
Yeah.
And, which is...
And I think that's interesting because one was rural and one was basically urban. So like the rural communities did it just one day and then they stopped. But Queen Esther in urban city says, I want 2 days.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
do it
so
again.
in the urban area, they took a second day of killing, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
What's so cool about this? And again, we'll have to get into this with the Creasy thing because he'll do a better job explaining it. But Haman, the bad guy, the antagonist, came from the Agagites, which was way back when. And the reason that he's there is because way back when God told Samuel told Saul, God through Samuel to Saul,
To eliminate them.
said, eliminate the Agagites and don't take any booty.
Any plunder. Yeah.
They exterminated the Agagites except the king and his family. And they took all the booty. So they only did half of what God said. And so the Agagites then survived this. And now, hundreds of years down the road, we've got the Agagites, which is Haman, who is a thriving community trying to exterminate the Jews. It doesn't succeed. Haman gets killed. They redo an edict that says, now, Jews, you can kill them and take their booty.
Right.
Which is the exact opposite of what Saul was told. Kill them, don't take the
take
booty.
it, right.
This was, okay, Jews, kill them, take the booty. And because of understanding the history and knowing the Agagites, the Jews in this story of Esther kill everybody and they don't take
touch it.
any booty.
Right.
Which is just
Full circle.
full circle.
Like,
And how well they had to know their history and their Bible to know that story of Saul and the Agagites all the way. I mean, I don't
And
know
passed
American
down.
history. If you told me, I
Yeah.
would know.
Passed down to pass down to pass down. This sort of, not exactly a huge, I mean, David's a huge story with Saul. You know, I mean, like that could, but the Agagites,
Agagites,
they're
I
sort
didn't
of
know
a,
it.
they're sort of a,
Yeah.
right? Nobody's paying that much attention to it. So,
Have
anyway,
you watched the show David?
The House of David.
Yes.
We're on episode 3 or 4.
So you've seen the Agagite guy, they kill him.
Yes.
That's this
That's the
story.
guy- I know.
Which,
But
as we were reading this, I'm
how
like, Sean,
crazy.
that's the house of David that Samuel just came back in because Saul didn't do it, and Samuel had to
do it.
kill him because Saul didn't. And
I know.
Here
Isn't
it is in
that crazy?
Esther, and I was like, oh, I love the
God.
Bible.
Oh, God works. I know,
I
but
love
like
the
that we're
Bible.
watching it at the same
I
time.
know, but imagine that as a movie.
I know.
mean, that's like, who needs to make up stories? Just retell these.
These.
I mean, these
That
are
is true.
great stories.
That is
Somebody
very
needs
true.
to make Esther into a movie. This has
No
all
doubt
the stuff.
somebody has.
I mean,
Don't
all
you
the
think
stuff.
somebody must have? There must be
I've
an
not
Esther
seen
movie.
an Esther movie done well. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
that's
like some,
probably true.
you know,
I don't know.
documentary on it somewhere, but like this would be like,
There's so much
There's
in
a
this.
lot
It's,
in
it's
this.
like a thriller romance.
it's
not
crazy, crazy,
it's not
crazy.
Hallmark. For sure.
Really not a
It's not
Hallmark.
Hallmark movie.
No, not a happy ending. for
Bring
everybody.
whatever you want into
Yeah.
the cake. So anyway,
So yeah, so that's
now we get
the Jews kill
get-
all
right.
them, which even that King Xerxes just like, yeah, go kill my people.
yeah,
Sure.
whatever. That's what I was thinking. Like, is he so successful that he's not paying attention? Doesn't need those people that are paying taxes and doing work and doing all this stuff?
know.
Or is it just like he's so laissez-faire that he doesn't care?
I don't know. We
I
should
don't
do
know.
a study on King Xerxes. I'm sure historically, there's got to be
There
some
has to
history
be,
about King
right.
Xerxes outside of the Bible. I don't know.
This is true. I know that like not very soon after this, his whole kingdom starts to
Yeah,
fall
crumble.
apart. So, yeah, that's why.
So we get to the end. Esther and Mordecai are raised to a very high level in the kingdom. The Jews are saved. And literally, Israel and the Jewish community that we have today are here because of Esther and Mordecai. And they celebrate it. So there's a big celebration
Yeah,
called
I know, Purim.
Purim.
Yeah.
And I was like, then Googling Purim, because I'd heard of it.
Yeah.
But I was like, what exactly? And what's crazy is they celebrated on 2 days because of the fact that the rural people killed them on 1 day and the urban people did 2 days. So they now celebrate it for 2 days.
For 2 days.
that
And little
fun?
girls dress up.
Girls dress up, and the
Yeah.
little boys dress up like Mordecai.
Yeah, I know.
And they
So
do.
they think they're really good people.
They think they're good people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the sense
are.
that they saved their
their whole culture.
community. I
Right.
mean, they saved their
Right.
people. They
Yeah.
saved the, what is it?
It's
What
not a
would that be?
tribe.
No, it's a-
It's a. Yeah.
What is that? A whole demographic.
It's not a.
Culture. What? We're missing a word. They
Yeah, it's
saved
a-
the whole. I don't want to say religion because it's a.
Yeah, no, because it's not a religion. It's a culture. It's a country. It's like the Italians. I don't know. There is a
They
word.
saved them, all them, whatever they are.
What is that
I know.
word?
What is that?
Okay, whatever.
Like
It's getting
like
late.
if you'd say the Irish,
Right.
the whole Irish tribe, the Irish culture, the
It's
Irish.
like a tribe, but it's
It's
not a
not.
tribe. It's
Yeah. Anyways, you
What
know
is
what we're
that?
talking about. They saved all them.
they saved them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting story.
And that just goes on. It sort of ends
Yeah.
there. We don't hear much more about that.
That's
except
it. I
that
mean, you don't hear of
that's the
Esther again. You don't hear of Mordecai
line of
again.
that Jesus came
Yeah.
from, and so we end up with our Lord and Savior
Yeah.
situation coming through all this, which is like, and no mention of God except for what we'll talk about.
We'll talk about a really cool
we get to
subliminal.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So quickly, because we're already just in the recap, almost running out of
Oh.
time. Some takeaways from Esther for you and Colin.
Wait, we're actually going to do those? We'd have time.
Well, I mean, like just some highlights for you.
Okay.
I mean, we did an overview, but now some highlights of Esther.
Oh,
Outside of the fact that she had a year of beauty treatments and
did like the year of beauty
clearly is good
treatments
in
thing.
bed. I mean, we can
Right.
learn a lot from her. I don't know what,
I'm
but
too old. I'm like, old dog, no tricks.
she should have just Shunammite him and it would
She-
have been fine. That's what she did. She just Shunammite.
We didn't have the Shunammite word yet. Let's see, what did I write down? I wrote there's a story of God's providence, even when he becomes silent. I don't know why I was so focused on that. Like, your story is really his story. You know, I don't know what did I write? I didn't know what he was I didn't know what he was doing early on in my life
Oh,
either.
like we
Like
talked
in
about
hindsight,
calling.
like we talked about in calling, it's just right. We wouldn't be here without all that that we talked about last week about like our life and how we got here and what we'd be capable. We wouldn't be doing a podcast if you know, God hadn't planted all these seeds that we can now talk about and laugh about. And so anyway,
I am certain if Esther was sitting here telling
Oh.
her story, like we did last week. Here I am and here I am. We told our story, you know, up and down. Imagine Esther's story. I was orphaned, raised by my uncle in a foreign country,
Yeah.
away from everything that I believed in and knew.
yeah.
I somehow get picked out of a beauty pageant to sleep
to
with a
sleep.
guy that's got millions of wives who just killed the last few people. I have my own eunuch, and I ultimately save our entire tribe. What is that
Right.
word?
I don't know.
Generate.
It's going to happen at 2 a.m. This is what happens. Thank you to menopause.
Google what they are. Anyway,
Kingdom.
so imagine her story of.
Right.
Do you think what's your calling? Like if you were sitting here
I'm
asking
sure that-
Esther what's your
yes.
calling, I don't think she would have been like really good in bed and the queen.
And the queen. And that's how I got to be.
That's how I got to be queen
Right,
because I was
right.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
I
No.
don't think that's on the
But she
spiritual
could
gift
probably teach us
assessment.
something. Yeah, she could teach us a few things. So yeah. But I think that isn't that the cool point,
Yeah.
right? Is that she wouldn't have done just like you and I wouldn't have said where we are
Right.
today. I mean, like 3 months ago, we would have been a podcast.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
I like that is, you know, there's all the what God looks, you know, for evil, you know, God uses
meant
for
for
good,
evil, yeah.
right? I think they talk a little bit. In our summary, we talked about courage is not having all the answers, because I told you courage is, and brave is my word this year. Courage is not about having all the answers, but trusting the one who does. Esther didn't know how it would turn out. She just stepped in faith. And gosh, that's such a good lesson for me, because courage is only one more step. Courage is not, and I want to know the plan so bad. So
that's a word.
so bad. So it's the obedience part of it. I just have to always remind myself that she did one little step. Like she went to the beauty treatments, right? That was part of obedience in doing what the king wanted, and here you go. So anyway, that was a big sort of take. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about is we often hear the name Hadassah, especially here in Jacksonville. It's
Hadassah's
Hadassah's
Hope.
Hope,
Yay, Hadassah's
and
Hope.
yeah, thank you for everything that you guys are doing. But that was Esther's Hebrew name. So I don't know
If you hear of Hadassah,
if you hear Hadassah,
right, one and the same.
it's the same thing. So
I thought a big takeaway from this, for me, just practical lesson from the book of Esther. And I don't know if I ever caught this before or understood it as much, was the whole switch. Like when things were at their absolute worst and the Jews were about to be exterminated, Mordecai was about to be killed, Haman was about to be glorified, it couldn't have been worse for Esther and the Jews. God steps in the absolute worst place and doesn't just get them out of the worst place, but he completely flips the script and takes them from extinction this morning to
extinguisher.
Success, right?
I mean,
outrageous.
it's 180 degrees.
All of them. Mordecai went from I'm going to be hanged to I'm now second to the king. Haman went from I am second to the king to I am hanged. The Jews went from being killed and everything being stolen to killing everybody and being able to take their stuff. Every part of this story absolutely was flipped upside down, but not until it was so bad that they said, but God, like, okay, Lord, now.
Right.
And isn't that true of our life so many times? That when we are at our absolute wits' ends, God
That's
steps
when we
in
say,
and
we
flips.
should fast.
We should fast.
We should fast and pray
Yeah.
and see what
And
God says
flipped
about
the
this.
tables on it.
Yeah.
Completely.
We probably wouldn't have to fast and pray if we just listened the first time.
Yeah, waited. Well, it's really bad now. God's going to step in.
I thought, I mean, it goes to, I highlighted, like, it's not random where we are. And that is, like, your current situation is not random. And God put us there. And if we're not fasting and praying and having the humility to know that God is at work and that God is doing something, it's so easy to forget that that's the case. So,
well, and how about along those lines? Mordecai said to Esther, if you don't do this, God will find somebody else. There was a, hey, you might be here for such a time as this, and if you don't take it,
if you don't do it,
God's will is still going to get done. He'll just do it through somebody else.
Right.
So that was a very, too, like that. Like, God knows exactly where you're at and why you're there, and he's going to say, here, do this. And if you don't, he's going to be like, okay, you know, that's great. You go live your life. I'll find somebody else to do this.
And you're probably going to be in the exterminated side.
Right. You're going to be,
I mean,
I gave you a chance.
I tried to make it happen, and I'll use somebody else, which is so difficult when you think, okay, there's my yes, right? And you go, oh, I don't know if I should. I think I'd rather have a maybe.
Yeah.
Can you show me what's on the other side of my yes?
Show me how this is going to work out to my good. If you can give me the plan, then I'll step into it. But without knowing, you really want me to step into this?
Yeah. I love that you said, though, like, she has such a mark on her life because she just stood up and did it.
She just did it.
I know. I love that.
That's crazy.
I love that. What else do we have to write about? Oh, we have to talk about rooted.
Oh, yeah, you did. Well, that was in here,
I
right?
love this.
One of them.
True
where was
courage is rooted in
Right.
prayer, humility, and trust in God's sovereignty. And so we've been on a theme, right, since Miles Monroe, talking about seeds being planted, and God plants seeds in us, and then we either let them flourish or we die with them in the cemetery. And I loved that what makes the seed flourish is the prayer, the humility, and the trust in God's sovereignty. So for me, that's a good closing.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have topics right now that really, are we taking them in prayer and God's sovereignty and fasting at the moment? You know, like weird that we hadn't talked about that, but that is what I said the other day.
Don't fast at the retreat.
I'm not fasting at the retreat.
Don't fast at the retreat. That's when I want to eat.
Doing that. No.
I'll fast prior to that.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're not fasting. But anyway, like you do have to water the seed. It's not just God saying
There's a seed in there.
there's a seed, and God's going to use and equip you to do it, but you still have to say yes. I mean, that's part of the watering, is that Esther said yes, and she, if I die, I die.
Right.
She said.
Took that risk.
So
It's good. Esther's
anyway,
great.
Esther's good.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
I think you're
it's
going to
been
enjoy
fun.
the Creasy video.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
Watch it and Soper. We can put both in there.
Okay.
So again, we'll kind of close out Esther today.
Yep. We have a
Talking
legend.
today. We have a legend next week from
about
out of
her
state.
calling.
Our first out of state legend,
Yes, she
which is
is.
exciting.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back.
And it's a legend I didn't know.
Yeah, it's a new legend
So that
for
was
you.
sort of fun.
Yay! It'll be a surprise.
Next week.
Then we'll come back on the last one, which is laughter, but we'll try to kind of go over the Creasy thing before we get
Okay.
funny.
We have, unfortunately, there's some scary ways that we could be funny with this one that I don't know that we want on the video, but okay.
Come in and
Yeah, we're gonna.
their crown and we're naked.
We may mark that one with like private.
Private, yeah.
No kids.
Viewer discretion.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Great.
We could have our makeup done for it, though.
We
I
could,
think that
though.
would
We
be
should.
sort of-
That would be
one of
really
these
fun.
times we're gonna
We
look
might have a
really good.
glamour
We're
shot
gonna
when we
look
come
really
on.
good when we get to this.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So the
okay.
end of episode 14.
15.
15. This was 15.
This is 15.
Yeah, you're
That's-
right.
we
Oh,
have to
gosh,
figure out
already.
what 15 is, and we have
Yeah.
to figure out what culture, providence, kingdom, grouping
Yeah,
of
the
people.
Jewish.
Like population, but that's
Yeah,
not the
but
word.
it is a.
Yeah, that's
I
not
don't
the
know,
word.
that's fine.
All right.
Tell us what it
okay.
is.
Cheers.
15.
In the books.